My home had these old water shutoff valves that weren't closing anymore. That made plumbing repairs more difficult to do. We had really hard water, so calcium or hard water buildup is pretty common. I replaced all 13 water shutoff valves in the home with the following method. Here are the tools you will need. A multi-cutting tool, a tool plunger blade, strong enough to cut through brass, a flashlight or light source in dark areas, pincers, needle nose pliers, 2 crescent wrenches, pipe cutter for copper, large screwdriver, a D-mount clip which is useful for maintenance and reinstallation of the water shutoff valves. You want to start off by closing the main water line. I used these compression sleeve pulling tools and they both broke. They required a lot of force to use as well. It still is possible to work with them. It will depend on your piping and how tight your compression sleeve is with respect to your copper piping. For me, it was easier and faster to cut the compression sleeving. Here are the 2 parts you'll need depending on your copper pipe size. For me, it was a 1/2 inch floor and ceiling plate and a 1/2 inch push to connect quarter turn angle valve. The brass craft one versus the shark bite one was easier to turn. Place a drip pan or bucket to collect excess water that drips out of the pipe. Loosen the nut at the top connected to the water hose. Use a larger wrench to loosen the nut in the front of the valve and use a smaller wrench to hold the nut in rear in place. Loosen rest of the nut on the valve by hand. Now we need to take off the sealing plate to be able to grind the compression sleeve easier. You may not need to do this if your pipe sticks out of the wall further. Cut and pull the sealing plate with pincers. Cut the brass compression sleeve with the multi-cutting tool. Be careful not to cut the copper pipe. Making slow periodic cuts will help to make sure you don't cut your piping. Now that the compression sleeve has been cut, use the big screwdriver to open up the compression sleeve and pull it out from the copper pipe. Use sandpaper to sand down the copper pipe. This will create a good connection with the push to connect valve. If there are leaks due to compressed or bad piping, you will have to use the copper pipe cutter to allow the push to connect valve to connect to a new section of copper pipe. Push to connect water shutoff valve onto the copper tubing. Pull it back to ensure it fits properly and doesn't come off. Note, the D-mount clip is just being shown to demonstrate how to take the valve off when you need to clean the piping from hard water buildup. Mount the sealing plate. The nice part about these sealing plates is they work well with copper tubing that sticks out of your drywall by only a small amount. It allows you to open them up and take them off so you have extra space to use the D-mount clip. You can then take off the push to connect water shutoff valve for maintenance. Be sure to close the main water line before taking the shutoff valve off.